Hey guys, so I wanted to talk about two new releases that are different sides of the technical music coin. And notice I didn't say the word metal. I don't want to disparage the word metal by using it to refer to one of these two bands. But I wanted to talk about the two of them because they represent two different philosophies. The first band I'll talk about is a one-man band called Dead and Dripping. If you've paid attention to the channel before, you'll know I've talked about this act before. I do enjoy, or at least I when I first listened to the record, I was definitely taken in by the atmosphere and the world building that it had in the language. Told me that this is an artist that knows who he is. And that automatically is going to make me listen to your product. And I knew that after I gave it a few more listens, that I would find more there to discuss and that there would be stuff there to discuss in general. The other band is one that I've lampooned on this site before. You may have seen it on the old channel when I discussed their last record. The band is Archspire. They put out their new single today, Carrion Ladder, and I put up a community post asking if it's something I should even talk about. This is a one-trick pony band that I've already dissected, and it is noteworthy that if I talk about them, that it's probably going to get a little bit of traffic because people are entertained or at least want to argue if someone is shitting on an artist as opposed to talking about the good in an act. But I wanted to talk about them because now it's not just them that's at fault. They crowdfunded this record, even though it was assuredly fully recorded before they accepted any donations. But now it's all of our faults. So there's a little bit more there than just pointing the finger at a couple of guys that don't understand death metal at all, as evidenced in Dean Lamb's channel. And we live in a world where you call yourself something and you're that thing. So they're a death metal band. But let's get back to, we'll talk about them a little bit later. Talk about Dead and Dripping. If you want to know what they sound like, it's always going to be hard when it's a band that's fairly unique. The overall approach, they are a technical band. It's a band that is a bit bewildering on the senses. They're very organic sounding. The approach is definitely mid 90s, and the goal for the artist, despite being only 30 years old, is to carry that torch of the early to mid 90s, oddball death metal stuff like Atrocity, stuff like something that would fit comfortably within the Canadian bizarre tech death movement. Not so much cryptopsy, even though the band's name would make you think of that, but more like Spasm or something like Unhuman, both of which have a lineage to cryptopsy. But it's definitely a band that comes across in the same way that something like Breeding the Swan does, where when you listen to the record, especially given the production of that record, you are presented with a language to develop a world that you now exist in. You are presented this and you're living in it. The band isn't trying to tell you anything in either of these cases. You don't hear Suffocation or Dead and Dripping say, I'm a death metal band. Here's how I'm going to show you I'm a death metal band. I'm fast. Here's how I'm going to show you that I'm fast. They are just going to present you an environment, and you have to live in it. And that's what shows what a true artist is that confidence. When I first put on the Dead and Dripping record, I can hear the confidence in that this is a person that knows what they want their environment on their record to sound like. This is there's a through line from start to finish. He knew not just what he didn't want it to be, but what he wanted it to be. And a lot of people don't have knowledge of both of those things. So listening to the record, you hear, well, we talked about Cryptopsy a little bit earlier. The only other thing similar to Cryptopsy is the bass pokes out of the mix a little bit like Cryptopsy's does. I think it's a fretless bass. There's a lot in common with Demolich, even though the main creator here was born after that record came out, which is all the more impressive when fairly young people can dig through the morass of like horrible deathcore lampooning as death metal, which we'll talk about a little later, and find something that can inspire them, which I assume happened. I have no proof of that. I would like to read an interview with this guy and see what actually inspired him, because the way the record plays out is as mentioned before, it doesn't put on airs. It just delivers what it is, and you deal with it for its 40-something minute runtime. And after I was done with it, I wanted to hear it again. I wanted to enter that world again. Everything from the production to the approach, the melodic choices, the phrasing is unique to this player. And that automatically validates the project's existence. If it doesn't sound like or feel like or present as anything else, it's earned its place. Can't say that for a band like Archspire, who showed their full hand already on previous releases. And grab this cat here who's trying to get up. This is more of the same. We'll talk about Archspire now. And well, as much as I talked about confidence in the last record, this band just oozes the lack of it. When what you bring to the table is wanting to tell the audience that you're the fastest band. Their record's called Too Fast to Die. When you want to say you're the fastest, you're the heaviest, you're the most technical, all of these things, and you're saying it rather than doing it and showing it to me, or just presenting it and having me live in it, you're showing that lack of confidence. And I understand that metal has always been a bit of a dick measuring contest. It's a masculine genre. It's still one of the few things that hasn't been completely feminized in modern culture, although bands like Archspire are definitely taking it there. And it's kind of like that line from The Matrix, "Stop trying to hit me and hit me." A band like Dead and Dripping is going to hit you, and a band like Archspire is going to try to hit you. They're going to try to make sure you know that hit is coming. They don't want there to be surprises. They want the audience to know what they're getting, because their main goal is to make money, as shown in previous videos I've done here. And they're not even measuring dicks the right way. Like, dicks aren't measured in length or width or volume if you're a weirdo. They're measured in impact. They're measured in the storytelling you get after you use it. And a band like Dead and Dripping, that leaves a lasting impression, where as a band like Archspire is going to take down their pants and tell you that they're packing, when the proof is in the pudding and your eyes won't deceive you. So it's just a completely different philosophy on how to handle an art form, and one of them is valid and the other is immediately invalidated by how it comes across. So the only way to really compare these bands is in the fact that it is something that exists in the technical metal genre. They both exist within that. They're completely different sides of the coin. One is very organic sounding, has its unique approach. Everything about them screams, I need this to exist or I will not. And a band like Archspire puts out a product so that it could afford to exist. And there's no room for that in metal. So there's not a whole lot much more to say about Archspire. They're always going to be what they are. They're never going to show growth. There's no profit in their growth. And a band like Dead and Dripping is going to be ignored. I saw a review, a website that reviewed my record also reviewed theirs and gave them a 2 out of 10, gave Dead and Dripping a 2 out of 10. And I was astonished. Like, I obviously, people other than myself usually have more subjective approaches and are going to rate it based on their experience with it rather than what the record is. And it was entirely unfair, and shit like that is just more proof that the ears are not there for a real organic artistic experience, or at least they're not there as much as they used to be, or they're dwindling. But I do hope that people that are more discerning are going to want to seek out a band like that, because it's very rare in nowadays to hear even a remotely unique experience. And this I feel delivers in spades on that. I think that I want to delve deeper into the catalog. I'm sure there's plenty of there worth visiting too. So definitely check out the new Dead and Dripping record. Do not check out the Archspire one. It's just a parody of itself at this point. All right. Thank you for listening.